In today's video, we're going to take a look at the 120-minute chart of August crude. And I know I have some buy zone setups. There's also going to be some sell setups, and I'm just going to walk through how I find them. Okay, so here again, this is the 120-minute chart. What I'm going to do is I'm going to look for possible retracements, extensions, and projections to identify the key areas of support and resistance. So I'm going to start with running projections using a three-pointed tool. So I'm going to grab this one. It's where I'm going to measure a prior high to low projected from another high. So here, I've got this swing over here that looks interesting in comparison to this swing. Okay, so that one comes in below at 65.75. But we can also take this swing inside that swing, high to low, projected from here, and that one we're right on top of. And also this high to this low, project that from that same high. Okay, and that comes in a little bit lower. Now, how about here? I think we may be through this one, but I'm going to try it anyway. Okay, that one we are through, so we don't need it because we went through it and we have this other support. All right, and it doesn't look like we have any other projections that I could run at this point. So next, I'm going to start looking at the retracements. So as far as the retracements are concerned, I know that I can run, the low to the highest high, and then also the higher lows to the highest high, and see if there's anything that overlaps. So let's try that. This is the regular retracement tool that uses only 2 points. So let's grab the low to the high. Okay, we have 50% that overlaps there. What if we do the higher low to here? Okay, we'll have a 618 that comes in underneath that. And then let's try this one, low to high. Okay, we're through one. So we'll get rid of that one, but we'll keep the others. All right, and I'm getting rid of the stuff that's a little bit below the market because I know what I'm looking for here. And then what else can we look at? We can look at, okay, yeah, because we have 100% and a 50. We can look at extensions next. So extensions are essentially retracements beyond 100%. So I'm using the 1272 and the 1618 in that case. I can run this low to high and extend, and I don't know, I might have to look at this one and might have to look at this one too, and we'll see where this comes together. So first, let's try this low to high. Okay, so we went through the 1272, but we have the 1618 right here. So here's a cluster right here. That is a setup. Then we're also going to have some support that comes in a little bit below, but let me just label this first area. Let's call this support, and it's holding so far at 66.34 to 47. Now we have another area that's not quite, an official setup because there's only 2 price relationships here. So you have a 786 and a 618, so 66.16 to 20 would be another decision, but it's not an official setup. But then the other setup would be, symmetry by itself is a setup. So you can look at this area for possible support and then also this area. Now, what about resistance? I mean, we're holding this first area, and maybe somebody would prefer to look at the sell side because here you can see that we took out a prior swing low, and there is a little bit of a pattern of lower lows and potentially lower highs. So let's also run that. But in the process, you'll be getting a potential target if this first support holds. So we're going to grab the high to the low, and basically the potential target if we hold here is 69.62. Second target would be 70.48. But what we're also going to do is we're going to run the smaller high to low for resistance. So this high to low here. And then I also want to run projections of these prior couple of swings. So taking the low to the high, projected from the low, low to the high, projected from the low. And then that's given us some other key areas to look at for possible failure. The ones I want to focus on, well, what we have around symmetry or the 618 retracements. If you wanted to look at resistance for possible short, there's actually one more projection I'm going to run. Low to this high from here. Okay, so there's really two areas to focus on as far as resistance, if you prefer to look at the sell side. 67, I guess we'll look at this as 67.55 to 67.81. And then the other area, 67.99 to 68.06. If we hold here, and then instead of failing at one of these resistance decisions and we push through it, then we're looking for these potential upside targets. But if we get up into one of these areas and all of a sudden you start seeing a sell trigger, two things you do. One thing is to, get out of your long. The second thing is to consider the short side, because if we do get a sell trigger against that, then we're going to look for an extension on the downside next. Okay, so remember to take this work from one decision to the next. We don't know if this is going to hold and give us these targets, or if we're just going to get a bounce maybe into resistance and roll over again. So use those levels to help you trade if you're looking at crude oil. I mean, that's what we're doing.